everyone. We're back. Once again, thank you, Scott, so much for your time. Up next, I'm really excited to introduce to you our next speaker, Danny Thompson. So Danny, please come up and join us for today's chat. I'm very excited to hear your entire story and journey from being gas station cook to software developer.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. So happy to be here. For those of you that don't know, me and Jennifer Tango way back to elementary school together.
Oh, yeah.
No, we don't. But I'm very excited to be here. I love everything that Mintbean is doing. And I've been doing so many talks in Toronto that I'm planning to somehow come over there and do a big event with everybody. So I'm going to figure that out. We're going to do something. But I'm very excited about that. And if no further ado, I'm ready to get started.
Amazing. Hopefully we'll see you in Toronto sometime soon. But yeah, now the floor is yours. You can start.
Thank you. All right, everybody. I know some of you may be slightly confused. Just to let you know, this is not CGI. I just look this good naturally. I'm just playing. But I am very happy to be here. I am going to do my talk that I do with a bunch of twists to it that compared to normal on how I made it into tech. And the reason why I got into tech was because of a rapper. This rapper invested several $1 million into a tech company. And he was giving an interview for this. And he was asked, why did you invest money into a tech company? And he said he's learning how to code. Now, this blew my mind because I never knew someone from my background that grew up in the area that I grew up in, like that comes from that kind of lifestyle, could ever learn how to code. My mentality had always been that the people that know how to code are the rocket scientists and the PhDs of the world. There's no average human being working in this field. And obviously, he was asked, why are you learning how to code? He's not about to give up his lucrative rap career to become a software developer. That's not happening. So why are you learning how to code? The reasoning was profound. Why wouldn't you want to know how the thing that you touch 90% out of your day operates? Like, why is the extent of our knowledge on this amazing machine opening up youtube.com and watching cat videos? Like, why don't we understand why this laptop costs $2,800 or why my smartphone costs $1,500? Like, what is Snapdragon? What is RAM? It's all buzzwords until you put something behind it. So he starts learning how to code, and so do I. And I get on freecodecamp.org, and I start learning right there. And I start learning, HTML and CSS. And I hear about this thing called meetups. And I go to this meetup, and at this time, I know HTML, CSS. I made a very simple application where you could enter the URL of an image, and it returns that image with some coloring on top. It's like a really, really bad filter. But it's safe to say at this point in my life, I could cure cancer with code. I can't. I was terrible. I didn't know nothing. I thought the world began and ended at JavaScript. I didn't think there was much after that. So I walk into this meetup, and I very quickly realize that I don't know shit. I don't know stuff. I don't know anything. And I realized, like, people are starting to talk to me, and they're saying all these things that are like a foreign language to me at this point, like Java and C# and SQL. And I don't know what any of this is, but now I'm hooked. I've been introduced to this brand new breadth of knowledge that I didn't know existed. I didn't know what Java was. I didn't know what C# was. But in that moment, I realized I'm being excluded from the conversation just because I don't know anything. And I said in that moment that I will never be excluded again. So I start going home, and I start studying, and I start learning more and more and more. And I start studying JavaScript, and I start learning about ES6 functions. And I go to that next meetup, like, well, do you know what arrow function is? Do you know how to do this in ES6 functions? Then I gotta go home and start studying more and more and more. And I start learning about SQL. And I go to that next meetup, and I'm like, do you know what SQL query is? Do you know how to do a SQL table? Then I go start studying more and more and more. I start learning about Java, and I start learning about Spring Framework. And I go to that next meetup, I'm like, do you know Java? Do you know how to do this in Spring Framework? Do you know Java FX function? And now I'm included in this phenomenal community of developers that are there just trying to help as many people as they can. And I'm included. I've been brought in because I kept pushing myself to go a little bit further. And I can't tell you how pivotal that was for me, because once I started getting hooked in that meetup community and started seeing what other developers were doing, I started wanting to go further into it. I wanted to start learning more. I started picking up things from the conversations I had with people. You are a byproduct of the people that you choose to keep around you. You can't choose your family, but you can choose the people that you keep around you. If you keep enough developers around you, you're going to become a better developer. It's same concept here is if you keep enough cooks around you, there's no way you're not going to pick up a recipe or two. Same concept. If you keep those developers around you, you're going to start picking up on things. People are going to start talking about things. And it's natural. We talk about, well, did you see that new React function? Did you see that new feature that just came out in Angular? Did you hear about that new thing in Vue? And you start absorbing these things and you broaden your concepts and your ideas about what you understand. So after that meetup, everything after that, was incredible. I kept studying, and I asked the one thing that everyone that before they get into tech, they ask at a meetup: how do I get that first job in tech? And I heard the exact same answer over and over and over again, like a broken record. It was almost like they recorded it and pressed play. And the answer was, oh man, that first job, whoo, that's the hardest one. But if you get the first job, every job after that becomes that much more easier. Now, to someone like me, that is the worst thing you could ever tell me. Because not only did you demotivate and demoralize me, you've given me 0 action items to work on. You've given me nothing that leads me from A to B, from X to Y. I've got nowhere to go. And I said, I can't allow that to be the answer. But then in that same moment, I realized that everyone else that was coming to these meetups were asking the exact same question and were getting the exact same answer. So I said, I got to figure out a way to change this. And at this time, mind you, I'm still working in this gas station. I'm still frying chicken. Matter of fact, when I go to these meetups, they call me Popeyes, because when I walk in, I smell like chicken so much, the whole room smells like Popeyes and everyone starts craving fried chicken. But that's what I was doing. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm so proud of that, because I worked in those gas stations for 10 years. For 10 years, these fingers batter chicken, and now they dance on a keyboard and they make code happen. So I'm not ashamed of that at all. But I said, I got to figure out a way to change this. So I went home and I created a LinkedIn profile. And I started cold calling and cold messaging hiring managers and recruiters and decision makers for businesses. And in the beginning, they're like, who is this guy? And now they're like, oh, Danny, I loved him from the beginning, man. I love Danny. But it wasn't until I said, I'm going to make this change occur, not just for me, but for the people in my community, did things start really moving. Because I said, I know so many people are afraid of putting themselves out there and saying, okay, I'm going to cold call this individual. I realized I didn't care what someone thought of me, because here's the thing. When you cold message a hiring recruiter or a hiring manager or decision maker for a business, and they're like, no, cool, I'm never going to see you in my entire life. Like, we're never going to be in a room together. So if you give me 2 letters of an answer and say no, on to the next one. There are 7 billion people on this planet. I just need to find one to love me and give me the position that I've been dreaming about. But I realized by utilizing LinkedIn, I can start creating this hiring network. And that's exactly what I did. And I helped this one person land their very first job in tech. And hey, Hassan, I helped this first person land their first job in tech. And I realized, okay, I've just helped this person make their dream come true. I was with them when they got the offer letter. And they were so happy in that moment that they had tears in their eyes. They've been spending a year and a half chasing this inevitable goal, and they finally hit it because I intervened, and now they're there where they wanted to be. They were crying. They were so happy. And then I realized in that moment, nothing mattered more to him than landing his dream in tech. But I also realized in that moment, nothing mattered more to me in that moment than helping them reach that goal that they had for themselves for so long. And that one person became 10 people. 10 people became 20 people. 20 became 40, 40 became over 70, and we're still growing more and more. And I'm constantly helping people land those first jobs in tech. And it's not because I make money off of this. I don't monetize this. I realized, and it might have been an epiphany, might be getting older, I don't know, but this thought came to me and I've been obsessed with it. I'm no longer concerned with becoming a rich man on my deathbed. What I am concerned about and what I am obsessed with is trying to leave the world in a little bit better shape than the way I found it. And if I can do that, I'm more than happy to leave this world in a very happy state of mind. The way we're doing that, though, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. We have some of the lowest cost of living in the country. We also have some of the lowest cost of learners in the country. The average household income in some of our areas is $18,000 annually per household, several $1,000s under the poverty line. If I can take one of these people, give them the resources, give them the courses, give them mentorship from our meetups, give them a community to be a part of and help them level up. And I get one of these people and get them in a position where they're making 80 grand a year. They're now generating 4.5 times the average household income. If I can get 20 people from that area, I just changed the neighborhood. Now the schools are benefiting because we just changed the tax bracket. So now the kids are benefiting because the schools are getting more resources. But not only that, we're deterring gang violence and drug violence, but we're also removing the number one reason for divorce, financial issues. They have more money to provide for themselves, for their family. What can you provide when you're making 18 grand a year? You can't provide extracurricular activities. You can't provide necessary things for the household. You got to choose between meat and the fish, vegetables and rice. You've got to make hard-earned decisions that most average families don't have to make. But the biggest thing that we need to instill after we help these people change their jobs is financial literacy. Financial literacy can make or break a community. Financial literacy can change a family and it can change a community. What happens is in these communities, no one has the concept of financial literacy. No one talks about it within their family. Well, in upper class areas, this is kind of talked about while the child is in junior high, high school. It's common subject within the family. Save your stock, invest in your 401k, put money to the side for emergencies. This isn't talked about. When I was working in the gas station, I didn't have an emergency fund. I didn't have money set to the side. If I had an unexpected bill, I could have been homeless. I couldn't afford that because it's not talked about. I remember the first time someone said, "Do you have an emergency fund?" I was like, "What's that?" And they said, "You should be setting aside 5% of your income, no matter what you're making. Set aside 5% of your income so that way you can eventually build up to having an emergency fund where if you lost your job for 6 months, you could coast without having to worry about anything." I can't tell you how insane this idea was to me. And I remember when I was telling my mother about that, and I had gotten a new job, and we were very, very poor family. And when I got a new job, I told her I'm investing in my 401k. She's like, "Investing in your 401k? That's gambling. What are you doing? You can't gamble like that." These concepts aren't talked about. So if they're not talked about within these low-income families, they have no idea how to make money work for them or how to change their circumstances. So it doesn't matter if you give them a new job or learning resources. There's no way they're going to change their outcome. Just because you make more doesn't mean you're going to save more. I've seen it time and time again where people make more money and now they're spending more. They have bigger problems, bigger headaches, and they have no way to crawl out from under it. You need to make sure that you're educated in financial literacy. And I know that has nothing really to do on the concept of tech, but I think that's a very important life lesson that I've realized multitudes of people do not know about, and they should. So if you don't have an emergency fund, please start working on that. We're in uncertain times. Cash can always, always, always be very necessary to making sure your lifestyle is maintained if something bad happens. And if you still need to learn more about financial literacy, I host meetups and it's completely free. Everything that we do is always for free. So come check me out. Make sure you're following me and you can look that up. But back to the main thing. The reason why I even made the transition to tech, I was working 80 plus hours a week. You know, my son was just born at that time. We were broke. And I promise you, I can't even like explain. I would work all these hours and get my paycheck, and I worked just enough to still be broke. I worked just enough to still be depressed. And so I had to make a change. So I started studying. And as I was studying, I would study at night after work, and I realized, man, like it's tough. And so I made this change, and I started waking up at 2:30 in the morning every single morning to learn before work, because what was happening was I was so tired from work, my brain just could not absorb whatever I was learning. And I didn't wake up at 2:30 because that's cool or it's like an awesome Instagram post to make. No, I literally had no other choice. My work day started at 4:30 in the morning. It gave me 2 hours every morning to learn uninterrupted with a fresh brain that wasn't exhausted from the 14-hour shifts that I was working. And I would learn and I would absorb. And then on my lunch break at work, I would literally type on my phone trying to come up with things to see if they would work. And then when I got home, I'd type it into my editor just to see if I was right or wrong. And it was a great tool to really make sure I understood the concepts. And I highly recommend that if you want to try that out. You definitely can't go wrong trying to do something like that. But to me, at that time, I realized like I was failing. And failure to me was waking up every single day and just being miserable, just being discontent with what was going on. And failure to me was waking up and just not wanting to be there. That was failure to me. And I was putting myself in that vicious cycle. And I just didn't want that for myself. I didn't want that for my family. And the biggest thing, I wanted more time with my family. So as I'm learning how to code, I'm realizing like, man, this is a viable tool that I could do things. Now, I didn't start learning to code because I was like, oh, I'm going to become a software developer, software engineer. I started learning how to code because I was like, all right, I'm going to make a website and it's going to be on this idea. And I don't know what it is. I just know I'm going to make a website for something. And in that discovery process and trying to build is when I started realizing, oh, there's a career path that can go this way, because I didn't know that someone like me without a degree that doesn't come from an educational background could ever work in tech like that. I just knew that I could learn how to code. So now that I know that the path exists, nothing in the universe could have stopped me. Nothing would have stopped me. There's nothing you could have told me at that point that would have been like, you know what? You can go ahead and stop now. No, I was going until I reached that position no matter what. And I remember I started applying right away. And this is when I just started learning JavaScript, right? And I remember I got one phone interview and I just knew like the bare bones basics of JavaScript. Like I barely knew what an array was, right? And so I applied to this job. I applied to a bunch of jobs because I'm like, oh, I know JavaScript. And you don't realize how complex the language is until you realize how complex the language is. And so I go to, I get this phone interview. And as I'm in this phone interview, they're like, do you know React? And I was like, yeah, I know how to React. I know happy, sad, mad. What are you talking about? I didn't realize it was a framework because I didn't know about it at that moment. And that phone interview, you could audibly hear the hiring manager go like, oh, I've just completely wasted my time. This hour phone interview is going to be cut down into 5 minutes real fast. But I'm grateful for that because it was my first interview. I was so excited about that. And I was so defeated when I didn't get it. But it gave me a realistic expectation of what I needed to get. And I turned down 6 jobs in tech before I ever found my dream job in tech. And people think I'm crazy when I say that. And I have a very clear vision of what I wanted. And I'm a very big believer in when you know you want sugar, don't accept Splenda. Do not accept a substitute for what you want. And I turned down jobs. I literally ended interviews halfway in the middle when I realized this isn't for me. And what's crazy about that is it was hard to turn them down and then go back to frying chicken. But I knew what I wanted and I wasn't going to accept something that wasn't that. I wasn't going to accept something below the standard that I had created for myself because I knew if I accepted it, I would become content. I might not be as hungry as I was for that opportunity when I still don't have it. If I don't have food in front of me and I'm hungry, I'm going to do whatever's possible to get food on my plate. Same concept here. I wasn't going to accept anything else besides what I wanted. And that's exactly what I did. So I ended up finding my dream job in tech and I loved it. But I remember before I found that opportunity, and I still loved that company. But I remember before I found that opportunity, there was one job that I wanted. I wanted it bad. Like from the depths of my soul, I wanted this company. It was everything that I ever could have asked for at that time. It was just the dream. And I remember after the last interview, I was like, man, there's nothing I could have done. There's nothing I could have left on the table besides what I've put out there. And I remember I was rejected and I was gutted to a level that I can't even describe to you. Like I was so sick. I laid in bed. I was so sick because I thought I did everything right. And I kept replaying in my head, like, did I do this wrong? Did I do this wrong? It was the best thing that never happened because 2 weeks later is when I found my dream company. If I had accepted that job, knowing now, I would have been sick as a dog. But if I didn't know about this other company, once I found this opportunity, once I found that it checked all the boxes, once I found that they wanted to invest in me and make sure I'm reaching that next level, once I found that they believed in me the way I believed in myself, I knew I found that dream company. The problem is a lot of us, we try to seek validation from others. Stop looking for your validation in someone else. They can't see what you see. They can't feel what you feel. If you could see what I see, you'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning with me every single morning. But you can't. I can't have you believe in my dream the way I believe in my dream because you don't see it the way I see it. So I need to bring it to life and show you the fruits of my labor and bring it to fruition in front of you. Until then, you will never believe what I believe. That company that I work for now believed in me the way I believed in me. I never found a company that believed in me that way. To this day, they still invest in me anytime I have an opportunity. They still invest in these meetups that I'm doing. They still invest in the community initiative that I'm doing. No other company would have done that or offered that. This is without a doubt the best thing that never happened, because if I took that job, I never would have found this. Don't allow your missteps, don't allow your failures to dictate who you are. Failure is an event. It is not a person. You are not a failure. It's something that you go through. And here's the best thing about that. Once you go through that failure, once you experience that moment, you become stronger, you become wiser, you become more skilled. The failures create the strength. Here's a secret for you right now. I see people all the time. Let's say you're losing your balance and you're falling. So many people try to hold their balance, delaying the inevitable of that fall. And when they fall, it hurts that much more. Stop delaying the fall. Stop trying to tiptoe around it. Surprise, you are going to fail at least 100 times more in your life. You are going to fail at least 100 times more in your career. I guarantee it. Surprise, you're going to fail. Now that you know that, walk into that situation with an open heart and open mind and be willing to get it. Be willing to go through that moment. Be willing to experience that, because I guarantee you, if you fail, you are going to get something out of it. A failure is only a failure if you get nothing from it, if you don't understand why it happened, if you don't understand why you failed, and if you don't understand how you could have pivoted differently. Fail forward, fail fast, and learn. Fail forward, fail fast, and quickly pivot. It's okay to fail, pivot quickly, and you can keep your momentum going. Don't allow yourself to fail and then you lay down and die. That's unacceptable. I see people all the time. You need to understand something, okay? Life is incredibly short. It is so short. We are here for just a short period of time, and then we're gone. And I feel like once we actually really understand this concept, our lives truly begin. Because I feel like before we realize that, we're always like, oh, I've got this time. I've got that time. I can push this off later. Oh, in 2 years from now, I'll start. In 5 years, I'll start this. And I don't think we realize you're here for such a short period of time. 70 years, 60 years, 100 years. This is so short in the grand scheme of things. Your life will not even be 1% of the entire lifespan of this entire world. Think about that for a second. It is such a minute portion of time. You need to take hold of it. You need to make sure you're making your days count. Make sure you're making your moments count. If you're tired, lay back, take some rest, recover. But if you've got that energy, make sure you're putting it towards good use. I'm a big believer in you need to enjoy your downtime. And I'm a big believer in you need to make sure your goals are so big that you get excited by them. I'm a very big believer in writing your goals down on a piece of paper. And in between my computer here and my TV there, I have a wall. And on my wall, I literally tape all my goals. And so if I'm going to watch TV, my goals are facing me. And I'll ask myself, like if I'm about to binge watch a show on Netflix, like, have I really done enough to justify watching these 10 episodes on Netflix? Or have I not done enough? Maybe I'll just watch 2 instead of 10 and take the extra 8 hours on trying to make a better version of myself. So I'm still having fun. I'm still having my downtime, but I'm making sure I'm making my steps consistent and complete. I have very big goals. My goals, I don't normally talk about my goals when I'm working on them. I talk about them once they're done because I like my actions to shake the hearts of anyone that's listening, as opposed to me just talking about, well, I hope to do this, I hope to do that. Because there's so many people that hope, but they never take that first step and they never actually take an action towards what they're trying to do. And then they're just disappointing themselves. Make your goal huge. Like right now I have a goal. I had a huge goal actually that I hit recently. I wanted to give over $1,000 in learning resources to Black Girls Code. I was able to do that. $1,000 for me, that's a lot of money, you know. I'm not a company where I've got $1 million budget or something like that. I'm working for my stuff, you know. I don't charge people to get them jobs. So $1,000, that's a lot of money. So I gave them $1,000 in learning resources. They were able to utilize that. I had a huge goal that I wanted to give learning resources to people in communities. I've given over $35,000 in the last year and a half and learning resources to people that come from lower income families, that come from lower income areas. I'm trying my best to give them courses, resources, books, whatever may be necessary for them to reach that next level. That for me is like very valuable. I can't put that into terms. Like when I am able to help someone reach that goal, when I'm able to help someone go from a family that was on food stamps to now being able to afford a car payment and things like that, like I can't explain how amazing that feels for me. And you need to have very strong, valuable, and big goals. Don't cap your success. I'm a very big believer in if you cap your success, you will absolutely hit that cap. Like if your goal is to make $1 million, I absolutely believe you'll make $1 million, but you won't make $1.5 million. You won't make 2. When I had that goal of becoming a developer, my goal was never to become an entry-level developer or junior-level developer. My goal is to be the most valuable developer I could be, to have the best skill set that I could have. And that my goal is never to be entry or junior. They're natural stepping stones. You can't be the most valuable developer, period, unless you go through entry or junior. The problem is a lot of people have this goal that I'm going to be junior, I'm going to be entry. They get that first taste of success and then they quit. What happened to that hunger that got you to that position? What happened to that passion that had you going through all these lessons and learning and getting new skills? Once you got that taste, you stopped. Once you got that taste, you weren't trying to learn new things no more. You weren't trying to open your skill set. And what happens in 6 months when you get fired? You're like, I can't believe I lost my job. I can. You quit. Don't cap your success. You are so incredibly valuable. Make sure you understand that. A lot of people don't understand that they are valuable. You are valuable. Love yourself. Appreciate yourself. Love yourself, acne scars and all. Love yourself, imperfections and all. Love yourself regardless of whatever doubts you may have. Love your imperfections because your imperfections make you you. They are the key to you being you. If you were the same as everybody else, you'd be a part of the same meal, part of the same resources. You would not be able to stand out and conquer these amazing things that you're setting out to create. You are going to do something so incredible that people are going to talk about you. I just know it. You're going to do something so incredible that they're going to be like, man, could you believe Chelsea Tang did this? Can you believe Nicholas did that? Can you believe Devin did this? Can you believe Jennifer did that? You're going to do something incredible, but you just have to stop getting in your own way and allow yourself to do something a little crazy. Allow yourself to do something a little courageous and be impressed with what you were able to actually accomplish. I remember, and I say this all the time, and I don't say it because it's like, oh, this is cool to say, but I always come across people that are like, oh man, if I knew then what I knew now, I could have done things differently. Well, it didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that way. It didn't happen that you knew that. So now you know now what you know now. So what are you going to do with that? You know now what you can do tomorrow. So what are you going to do with that? Are you going to keep delaying it? Or are you going to make tomorrow happen? Are you going to keep delaying it? Or are you going to make sure, listen to me, in 2025, you are going to reach somewhere no matter what. 2025 is coming no matter what. We've got 5 years. Do something today that the you in 5 years thanks the you of today for. Do something today that in 5 years from now, you're like, damn, thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking that first step down that first path that I needed. It doesn't matter. People are always worried about, oh man, what if I do this and it's not the right way? Or what if I do this and this is the wrong thing? It's okay. It's okay. I've never met someone in my life that was like, damn it, I can't believe I learned that. God, what a mistake. No. Education is a window. It allows you to peer through it to understand things better. Maybe you needed that lesson to understand that time in your life that much more. It's okay if that's not the thing that leads you to where you want to be. It could be the thing that takes you to the thing that you need. So don't chalk that up. I see a question here. What age did I start programming? I started at 30. I worked in gas stations for 10 years. So, I don't advise that for anybody. But the problem was I just didn't know that I was worth anything besides that. I thought I was at the best that I could be. And I thank my wife. She's my rock. She's my world. She is my everything. And my wife constantly told me, you're better than this. And I didn't believe it. I was like, no, I'm not better than this. This is what I am. I come from the hood. I come from poor background. I come from a broken family. Yes, I come from the hood. Yes, I come from a broken family. Yes, I doubted myself. Yes, I did things I'm not proud of. Yes, I don't have an education. Yes, I doubted myself more than anyone else doubted me. But the second I believed in myself is the second everything changed. It didn't matter what I heard from people until I believed it myself, until I allowed myself to see what I needed to see. That's when everything changed. That is why I try to be so vocal about what I'm doing. That is why I do talks all over the world. That is why I talk at companies and boot camps. And that's why I talk at boys and girls clubs. And I even talk at prisons. I talk to prisoners that are learning how to code. And it's not because I want the good feels. I'm all about positive impact creates more positive impact. Maybe one person needs to hear me speak. That way they know they can do this. Maybe one person just needs to hear, man, that guy did it. Maybe I can do it too. That one person needs to just know the path exists for them to walk those steps and make that change in their life. One person, if one person can make that change, it's all worth it for me. I know now my following is growing a little bit more, and I'm so proud of that. And I'm so proud of the fact that people are gaining the knowledge and the help that they want. But here's the real reason why I help people. I'll tell you the God's honest truth. And maybe it's selfish. The reason why I try to help people get to where they're going is because I expect them to bring people along the way with them. Because if I help them get to where they're going, can you imagine the people they'll bring along the way with them? Nobody travels alone. It creates a ripple. If I help enough people, that ripple becomes a wave. And that's the wave of change that I'm trying to create. And here's the thing, a lot of places, they pay me to speak. I'm not getting paid a dime to be here. I'm not getting paid to be here at all. I'm here literally because I love you. I'm here literally because I want you to do something for me. And that thing is going to be my payment for speaking at this event. And that is, I want you and I expect you to volunteer, to help out in your community, to help someone out. Maybe when you become a developer, you can volunteer at a boot camp. Maybe when you become a developer, you can volunteer at a school or a community center. Do something, please. to help those around you, because that's the only way we're going to change our communities for the better. And that change goes outside of you. Maybe you help somebody in Toronto and they have family in Alberta, and now they go to Alberta and they're helping them out over there and they're helping that community. Your literal action could ripple across your country for the better. You have the potential, as small as it may seem to you, you have the potential to enact positive change in your country. Toronto, I've spoken 5 times now in Toronto in total. I've spoken at a college, I've spoken at events, and I've spoken at events like this. I'm literally telling you that I'm seeing people do things that could change their community. And Toronto has so many events going on like this. It shows the influence of tech that is growing there. You literally, and you may not realize it now, you have the ability to enact positive change in this sector. If a guy from a gas station can create an entire hiring network, can help people land jobs in tech, can speak all over the world just because he has the belief that if I walk in a room, I need to make an impact, I know you have that ability too. There's nothing special about what I do. Here's what's special about me. I scream whenever I want. I talk a lot of crap, and people tend to listen. But they will listen to you too if you do the exact same thing. There's nothing special about this. The only difference is I know if someone tells me no, if I know someone tells me that they don't like me, cool, there's 7 billion people on this planet. If only 1% like me, that's a massive impact. I don't need the world to like me. I just need a couple people. I don't need the world to like me. I just need a community. That is all I need, and that's all you need. And that action can be replicated across other areas. Please, as payment for this, as payment for me talking to you, please make whatever positive change that you can happen. Make whatever positive change that you can create it. There's a whole world here, and it's just for you. You just need to take advantage of that opportunity. We have a question here that says, how did you become this articulate and sharp when it comes to speaking this way? Asking for advice on speaking clear and defining personal purpose for interviews. Well, you actually beat me to my next talking point, where I was going to talk about how you can control an interview. And I'm a very big believer in you need to control whatever interview you are in. You need to be very comfortable with silence, just like that. There's more power in speaking fast or speaking slow and silence than it is in using. So what I'm trying to do like here is go over there, the ums, the uhs, the likes. If you just remove that, you will already come across as more intelligent, more articulate, more sharp, and a powerful speaker. That one thing alone can help you tremendously, and I highly recommend that. And you will be shocked at how many people I've worked with where they use that a lot as fillers, and once they remove that, everything changes for them. When it comes to controlling an interview, which I am a huge advocate for, and I believe that's the number one way, besides having a hiring network, that you can impress an interviewer, is give real life examples to real life questions. For example, if they ask you something like, well, do you know SQL? You could say, and many people do, yeah, I know SQL. I've studied SQL. Very boring, dull, non-impressive answer. Or you could say, yes, I know SQL. I actually created an application that made a SQL database and used Java on the back end, where we took rural city names and urban city names and separated them. And we used Angular on the front end or React on the front end to display that information. I've given you now 3 talking points: React, Java, SQL. If your next question was about C#, you're not asking that no more, because now you're interested on what I just said. Like, what did I just say? I just gave you Java, I just gave you SQL, and I just gave you React. So now you're going to say, well, what did you use React for in there? Did you use, hooks? Did you use class functions? What did you do? Or Java, did you utilize Spring Framework? Like, what were you doing in Java that required you to do that? Now I'm controlling the interview. And if I smack you enough times with love, eventually you're going to love me, because I'm giving you all the answers you wanted to be. Now I've geared you and steered you towards my strengths, as opposed to your preset questions that may expose my weaknesses. That has been the number one thing that got me so many offers for jobs in tech, because especially coming from a non-technical background, that was my key. Here's the other thing. I don't really look at job ads all the way. If you match 50% of the requirements that they're asking for, apply. If you know the main languages that they're asking for, apply. I don't look at the years. I don't look at none of that. I didn't have a degree. The job I have now wanted 4 years experience and degree. I had neither one of those. And there you go. Here's the thing with the years. They just throw that up there. They're wishing for the best case scenario, but there's no way you'll ever match 100% of a job ad, even if you have 20 years of experience. Just apply. Worst case scenario, they say no. Okay. Best case scenario, they say yes. Awesome. Or at the very least, you get to have a conversation and show how valuable you are. When you walk into these interviews, don't walk in, and I see this all the time, don't walk in with a begging mindset. Please just give me a chance. I just need a chance. Give me a chance. Please give me a chance. I just need a chance. Give me a chance and I'll show you what I can do. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. No. Haven't you noticed when someone's asking you for like a hard favor or money, or even if someone's begging on the street, it almost produces this visceral reaction. Like you're not intending it to do that. It just is, right? That's what you're doing when you have that mindset of begging. Instead, walk into these interviews with a value mindset. I'm valuable. I will bring value to this team. I will bring value to this conversation. I will bring value. Because if you bring value, they will bring a checkbook. It's as simple as that. No company in the history of the world has ever turned down a surefire way to make money or an opportunity to improve their systems. It just doesn't happen. If you bring value, they will bring a checkbook. So bring value, be valuable, make these systems and put this mindset that you are value. You are phenomenal. If you allow them, if you allow yourself to realize that, if you allow them to see that, then you can make amazing things happen. But if you keep going on, I'm not good enough, I'm not great enough, people are never going to accept what I bring to the table, I need someone to take a leap of faith. That is the wrong mindset. You'll never get anywhere with that. And that's why you find so many people finding hard positions and difficult positions to find jobs in tech. You don't need that. You don't have that. You don't want that. Take advantage of your time. There's someone right now, there's someone in a hospital bed begging for more time. There's someone in a hospital right now begging for an extra day, an extra week, an extra month, an extra year, and you've got it. Someone's begging for what you have right now. And you're telling me you're not going to take advantage of this opportunity to change your life, to change the life of your family. Someone's begging for this. You can't walk into a new opportunity with this old mindset that you're not good enough. You are good enough. You have value. You have value. Go into there and take advantage. Someone will not see tomorrow, and you will, and you owe it to them to take advantage of this time. Because if you've got it and they don't take advantage of it, someone is not going to see tomorrow. Someone's not going to see next month. Someone's not going to see 2021. Someone's not going to see 2025, and you are. And are you telling me you're going to waste it away? Why are you wasting it away when we can give it to somebody else then? Don't waste it away. I want you to look back on this time saying, you know what? I did everything that I could. I left it all on the table, and I've got no regrets. I did everything that I could. I changed the life of my family. Have a meaningful purpose. Walk with purpose. Walk with intent. Don't let your goal be, oh, I need to make more money. You get a paycheck from anywhere. You get a paycheck from McDonald's, work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. That's not an incentive. But make your goal there. Is your incentive to get a meaningful career? That's a reason. Is your goal to change the life of your family? That's a reason. Is the goal to provide a better life for your wife, your son, your daughter, your kid, your mother, your brother, your sister, your father? Is that a goal? Because that's the goal. Is the goal to go from riding on the train and the bus to now driving your own car? That's a goal. Is the goal to be able to afford a car note? That's a goal. Make your goal have meaning. Don't let it be meaningless. When you have an exciting goal, you will chase after it unlike any other. Have that goal. We have a couple questions here. Can I ask you why you don't take payment for your talks and take those checks and put them into assisting the education of others? So I do get paid for some talks. I do a lot of talks for free though. And it depends on the purpose. So many talks I am paid for, especially when I do it for like big companies, when I spoke at Google and all that. So for those talks, yeah, of course I take payment, and I speak, all over the country, but I like to speak to those that need it the most. For example, a boot camp or an event like this where it's geared towards juniors. You have so much purpose and potential. I would rather speak to you directly to give you that opportunity as opposed to charging for it. And especially Mintbean, this isn't a Fortune 500 company where if they got money to pay for that. I'd rather do this for free, and my payment will be you helping your community or you reaching that dream job in tech and then helping others do something similar. That is my payment. Right now, I'm about to literally volunteer at a boot camp in Arkansas over here, and I'm volunteering. It's not really a volunteer. They're paying. I'm sorry. But the pay is such a joke that it might as well be a volunteer situation, right? I'm doing that because these are people that positive impact creates more positive impact. If I help them, can you imagine the people that help? I'd rather see the positive change than see the positive paycheck. Money is not the root of all things for me. That is why I don't charge when I help people land jobs in tech. If I have the opportunity, if I have the opportunity to mentor that person as well, that is definitely something that I'm aiming for, striving for, and putting forth to make that dream happen for them. I would rather do that for free than the money. I don't care about the money. The money will come and go. Here's one thing people need to understand. Don't bank on money. Money comes and goes. Millionaires lose money all the time, slips through their fingers. Money is nothing. Your skills are your ATM. If you focus on the improvement and the leveling up and the next level techniques that can improve your skills, you are creating your path. You are creating your ATM. That's why when people tell me, well, if you lose a job in tech, I'll speak. I'm a dog on ATM. I'll speak. I'll go speak wherever I need to speak. I'll go do whatever I need to do. I can freelance. I can get clients. I can network. I can become a recruiter. I can do things. Make your skills valuable so that way you never have to worry about being unemployed. You know what's funny is when the market started going down, companies started losing money, they had more time and more opportunities for speakers like me. Make your skills your ATM, and you won't have to worry about a small paycheck here or there. The positive impact is more important to me. Like I said, I used to be obsessed with like, how can I make the most money? How can I put in the most hours? How can I do this? How can I do that? I'm not obsessed with I don't care about dying a rich man. I care about how I leave this world. If I can leave in a little bit better shape, I've done a great job. If I can leave this world in a position where my son, after I die, says, my dad was great, or my dad did great things for our family, my dad did great things for our community, that's enough for me. That's literally billions of dollars for me. If I wanted to be rich, I could be rich. I don't want to be rich. I don't care about that. I care about helping as many people as I can get to where they're going, and I hope that you reciprocate that. And when you reciprocate that, it's when you give more than you take. And if you can give and give and give and give, I guarantee you, if you help enough people get to where they're going, they'll make way for you as well. Haven't you ever noticed like people in a sports car, they only have 2 seats, right? The rich only have space for one person in their life. But a minivan, you got 7. I'd rather drive the minivan. I'd rather drive the bus. I'd rather drive the airplane. Let's have everyone come along instead of just one person or myself. That's what matters to me. That's why I do this. My goal has purpose. This has my purpose. And that's all I'm focused on now. What kind of projects did you make in your early days? I made everything. I have 3 rules to become a better developer fast. ABL, ABB, CCC. ABL, ABB, CCC. Always be learning. Always be building. Code. Always be learning. Learn through multiple methods because no 2 teachers teach the same. So if you're learning JavaScript, take several resources. Learn new things. Learn new techniques because they're not going to touch on the same things. ABB, always be building. Build. The only way you make your concepts permanent is by building something. Build something. You're following a tutorial? Cool. Let's say it's teaching you how to make a dog app. Make a cat app. Is it teaching you to make a car reservation system? Make a house reservation system. The basic structure will be the same, but you will have to figure out how to fill in the other details. That you're going to face errors. You're going to face problems. Facing those errors is what makes you a better developer. You don't need to be hand-holded all the time. Jump out. It's not as scary as you think it is. It may be a headache at first, but you start getting used to it. That's how you break out of tutorial hell. That's how you break out of always following tutorials to make something, make your own thing. That's something you're going to be proud of. I can't tell you how many times at work now even where I'll make a small change and it goes into live production on the live website. And even now, like if you go over and highlight the stage, the setting, the reception, all these buttons, don't click it, just run your mouse over it. That little hover effect, that's so cool to me. And I literally did that on a button. I'd keep hovering over and I'm like, customers are using that. We have thousands of customers that hit our website every day and they're using this. I did that. Those little things will become something you're so proud of as opposed to just following a YouTube video or Udemy course. Make that thing. And then CCC, code. Let those fingers dance on that keyboard. If you're not letting them dance, you're not going to be getting any better. Let them dance. Experiment, figure things out, break something, fix something. Go through that process. You're only going to get better the more your fingers dance. So let them dance. Don't hold back. Highly recommend one project that I tell all the people that I help in landing a job in tech. And that project is make an e-commerce application similar to a furniture website. And one of the websites I always give is overstock.com, where you have several projects across several pages that can be searchable. And you have to have, this is the key though, you have to have the shopping cart function. When you add something to that shopping cart, it needs to go to that separate page. Now, you don't have to really worry about like the payment thing. No one's going to do that. And if you set it up and they do that, then hey, you just made some money, right? But don't worry about that. Worry about having the shopping cart function. If you do that, that is the kind of project that you can talk about in an interview. Now, this is not a small project. It's going to take a couple weeks. It's going to be a lot of work. You're going to bang your head against the wall. You're going to freak out. I know it's going to be tough, but you will absolutely crush it. You need 4 things, and this is to answer a question that I see in the chat. How do you build a strong portfolio? How many projects should be in it? You need 4 things to land a job in tech. Number 1, you have to have a good portfolio site. Your portfolio site is, number 1 is your LinkedIn. You need to have a strong LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn is the most important thing when it comes to networking. LinkedIn, 90 million users on LinkedIn are hiring managers, decision makers for businesses, and recruiters. You need to stand out where they hang out. You also, 41% of the world's millionaires use LinkedIn on a daily basis. These millionaires obviously have employees. They're hiring people for things. It just shows the active network you could be building on there. Use LinkedIn. Number 2 is portfolio site. Your portfolio site does not need to be technical, but it does need to be appealing somewhat to the eye, because most hiring managers and recruiters have never touched a line of code a day in their life. They've been given a job description. They're filling it out in a little text box area. They don't know what the stuff means. It's copy and paste. When it comes to being appealing, though, they'll go to your portfolio site. They now look at it and they're like, oh, this is appealing. This is visually appealing. They feel like this is a site that they can trust. When they feel like that, you get on to the next area. Your portfolio items. These are the items, your projects that are in there. This is where you show your tech savvy, your technical abilities, and your technical knowledge. These are the projects that managers are looking at. They're looking at the code. They're trying to get a better idea of what you can do. You don't need to have 100 items in there. You can have 5 good items, like 5 strong items that show off what you can do. But remember, you need to always be building. So it's cool to bust out small projects, throw them up on your GitHub, show that activity, but focus on having 3 to 5 solid projects, but one big project. That's the e-commerce site. That's the project that is going to basically get your foot in the door. That's what you're going to talk about in an interview. That's going to be your key. And the 4th thing that you need is a resume. You can apply with it and all the good stuff, but really you need to have something to hand over in an interview, and that's that. I'm not a big believer in filling out applications. I don't like filling out job applications. I would rather leverage my network. And for example, this morning, actually Friday, I got 2 job offers. I turned them down because I'm not interested. And I got a message this morning looking for 3 developers in my local community to get jobs as teachers teaching tech. So these opportunities come frequently when you build up a valuable, strong network. That is why I always say network. Networking is so much easier than what people make it out to be. And I can't even emphasize enough how much you should network. Networking should be one of the things that you do on a daily basis. Get on LinkedIn, send out messages. You will be shocked at how many people are willing to come back and have a conversation with you. LinkedIn is this weird place. Like if I were to go on, let's say, Facebook, right? And I'll message someone like, oh, I found out you work at XYZ company. Why don't you tell me about that? They'll be like, you freak? Why are you stalking me, you weirdo? Like, get the hell away from me. Block. On LinkedIn, it's like, oh, I see that you work at XYZ company. What do you do there? Oh, I was employee of the month. I work in this, and this is my parking spot, and this is where I go to lunch, and I work in this location over here. They'll tell you the whole world. I was employee of the month 3 months in a row. They'll tell you everything on LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn for that power. For some reason, people drop their guard. It's a perfect place to make great connections. Some more questions. What's my favorite podcast? Well, of course, Whiskey Wednesday. But I also do love my podcast, Commit Your Code, if you check that out. And there's so many podcasts. How I Built This. If you don't listen to that, I highly recommend that. It's on NPR. But also Code Newbie. I just record. It's been a goal of mine for a long time, almost 10 months, to be on that podcast. And I just recorded my episode with them, and it should be out next season, and I can't wait for that. So when you have these goals that you put forth, you can make these things happen. So make sure you have those big goals. I feel like my fingers do some good dancing when I know 90% of my tools when I'm making that thing. Feels dang nice to do that. How is your process of networking? Okay, so I have several processes. So if it's in person, my podcast is on Spotify, yes. So if it's an in-person networking event, and let's say you just don't know what to say, you don't know what to do, here's the easiest thing you can do to go network with someone. Walk up to them and just say, so what brings you here? Now they're carrying the beginning of the conversation, and you're getting information to go off of. I am a big believer in, when I go to a networking event, I write something interesting about me under my name. So like most networking events have like the little name tag you put there. So I'll write Danny Thompson, Java developer, community leader. And so they'll ask like, well, what's your community about? And then boom, I've got something to talk about. Have something about you that just stands out. And if you don't know what to say, then say something. Find out something about them and just ask them questions. Most people love to talk about themselves. So utilize that to your advantage here. And if it's online, a lot of times I'll look at profiles and I look at developers in my local area, and I try to see, some people post like volunteering opportunities. And that's another thing. If you really want to network, well, volunteer. People that volunteer are established individuals. No one's volunteering that's unemployed or something like that. And they can, but for the most part, most volunteers are people that have jobs. They just want to give back in their community. What better way to meet valuable members of your community and your society than besides volunteering at a great opportunity? So definitely do that. But if you're volunteering, so if you go to someone's LinkedIn profile, let's say it shows that their company they work in or the languages that they know, I would message them saying, I see you work at XYZ company. What stack do you guys use? Or what's great about your company? Or what advice could you give to somebody in my position that is not in tech but is trying to figure it out? What advice could you offer me on what to learn? I'm currently learning Java. Do you think this is a great language to learn in my market? I'm currently working at this meetup over here, and I'm trying to give back to my community. What's something that you think people that are beginning to learn is something that they need to learn? Like, there's so many ways you can go with this. Just throw out a question. If they don't reply, cool. Go on to the next one. Do you know how many people are on LinkedIn? Like, there's no excuse not to build that network. And here's another thing. You don't need to necessarily write a note every time you're sending a connection request to somebody. Just send like a request. See what happens. It's not the end of the world if they don't accept it. And if they do, cool. Then after that, you can send the message. Just don't put stress behind it. Just put it out there. See what happens. Just see what happens. See where it falls. See where it goes. And keep going off that. Twitter is another great place to network. I have made so many acquaintances. I know Scott becoming because of Twitter. Like, we literally messaged each other on Twitter. Boom, done. You can just message someone. Add value to a conversation. Whenever you're adding value to a conversation, people want to listen. People want to be part of that. But if you just come in with noise or nonsense, you get ignored very fast. Be valuable. Volunteer at Mintbean. Yes, I love that. As a payment for this conversation, at least volunteer one time at Mintbean. Help out, add to this community, bring more people to another event, make this community thrive. When I come to Toronto and we do an event, I want to do it with Mintbean and all of you. I want to make sure when I come, we could eat together, drink together, have a buffet, whatever. We'll do something big. Volunteer with Mintbean. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love this idea. By the way, our next speaker, Jack Domleo, fantastic human being, genius of a human being. Genius guy. This guy is so good, he makes others feel weak, all right? He's so good that he makes me question my own abilities. But I only know him because we networked before this. We sent messages, we had conversations. Network with others, create your network. Your network should not be 10 people. 10 people will not produce enough opportunities. Your network should be thousands. You have that ability. It is easier now more than ever to network. And if I leave you with one last thing, I want to leave you with this. I can't even stress, like when I was on the job hunt, and I know a lot of you are going through this, I really doubted so much of what I was doing. I was doubting it all. I was working in this gas station. I just doubted everything that I could do. I'd walk into these interviews and I'm like, they don't want you. They don't want you to be there. You smell like chicken. You're making this whole interview room smell like chicken. They want a developer. They want someone that's professional. They don't want a professional chicken fryer. They want a computer coder. They want someone who knows how to use a computer properly. They want someone that can code. They don't want you. My doubts, my insecurities, my haters. I absolutely made it. I'm Danny Thompson, and I'm a software engineer. Thank you, and I can't wait to see what new levels you reach. I don't know if someone's going to jump on or what. That's usually my last moment, but nobody jumped on, so I don't know what to do. I thank all of you. I'm humbled to be in front of you, and you can also check me out on social media. I'm D Thompson Dev everywhere on social media, and I'm Danny Thompson on LinkedIn, and you can add me there as well. Check me out on Twitter, Facebook. No, well, not Facebook. I don't do that. I did make a joke this morning, though. I was like, I've been thinking about going back to get my degree because I don't have a degree. And I was like, well, why do I need to get a degree? Because apparently everyone learns everything off of Facebook. I might as well just reactivate that account and then I don't have to get a degree. Also, please check out Whiskey Wednesday. Their first interview, the first episode was probably their best episode because this gorgeous face was on it. But you can check that out. We had a great episode there. I want to do it again with those guys. They're awesome. Mark is a great friend that I absolutely love and I talk to all the time. And Scott is an amazing human being as well. So I definitely recommend that. I would also recommend, if you're looking for streamers, check out James Q Quick. And if you look at the past episodes, there's a great episode with Ro on there. And if you don't know, Ro is someone that I've known for quite a while now. Phenomenal human being, part of the Mintbean team. Another reason why you should volunteer with them. And Ro is the reason why I'm even doing this event right now. And Ro graduated from Juneau College, and it's a boot camp, and she's absolutely killing it. And she's helped so many people level up as well. And if you need some guidance from a junior aspect, highly recommend following her on Twitter as well. But also, she did an episode with James Q Quick, who's a mentor of mine, and it's so chock full of valuable little nuggets of knowledge that I recommend you checking out. But outside of that, I've got my YouTube channel, D Thompson Dev, as well. I'm going to be uploading a lot more content. If you don't know how to use LinkedIn, if your LinkedIn profile sucks, whatever it may be, check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/DThompsonDev. I've got a 4-part series where I interview actual hiring managers and recruiters, and we go over like 40 LinkedIn profiles over that series, and we're showing you the do's, the don'ts, the great things, the bad things, and what managers are actually searching for. I can't tell you within a week of putting that out, people were landing interviews. Within 2 weeks, people were landing jobs. People were sending me screenshots that in a week, their profile visibility jumped up 750%. So it's out there for free. I don't charge for any of that. I don't want to be making money off of that. I just want you to get to where you're going. So if you see value in that, definitely watch that, use it, share it, whatever. But use that to basically help create your network. And I hope that it helps you land that dream job in tech that you want. Especially if you don't know how to make LinkedIn work for you, that's the perfect way to make that work for you. It's the perfect way to basically create that pipeline. Because here's the thing with a valuable network. If you have a strong pipeline, like if you got people upon people upon people in your network that are ready to basically talk to you, and you never know what day one person's getting an opportunity that they need somebody for, and that day you'll be existing. So and here's the other thing, you could be the most valuable developer in the world. Unless the world knows, nobody will know. Unless you talk, nobody will be able to understand that you possess this power. So it's that much more of a reason you need to be standing out there with a megaphone, talking to the world and letting them know, I'm here, I can produce, I can bring value to this team, I'm here, and I want to be part of whatever it is that you're doing. Until you do that, people will never know. Learn in public. Yeah, that's good. I will say definitely learn in public and use LinkedIn for that, but like the whole 100 days of code stuff, leave that on Twitter. Don't put that on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the few places in the world where you can toot your own horn, and you're supposed to. Like, it's okay to brag on yourself. It's okay to talk about the things that you're killing it at. It's okay to talk about the things that you've accomplished. They want to see that. It needs to be a highlight reel of your life showing we need you. One thing I'll leave you with, and this should cover the time unless somebody asks a question. I truly am a big believer in everyone has greatness in them. Greatness is as common as blinking. For some reason, we kind of build up greatness like it's this amazing, like esoteric thing that is reserved for like the celebrities and the rock stars and, you know, like the Instagram influencers or whatever. But greatness is as common as blinking. You literally have greatness in you. You have to tap into it. The problem is we just always think like, haven't you ever been in a moment where you're like, oh man, I don't know if I can actually hit this. Like you're doubting your own success, right? And then you finally do. You said, all right, there's no way I could do this. And now you did it. That just proves at one point in your life, you tapped into that greatness and you hit that. You tapped into that greatness and you went to that level where you were like, yes, I'm great. Yes, I'm incredible. Yes, I can do this. Greatness is as common as blinking. You have it. Tap into it. Get to that level where you're impressing yourself. Get to that level where you're like, you know what, damn it, I'm so great that I got this. The problem is we don't ever really look at like where we've been. Like we're always so focused on where we're going. We never look at where we are, where we've been, or where we are currently. So if you just take a moment to at least observe the things that you've accomplished in the last 6 months, you'll realize how incredible you truly, truly are.
Thank you so much, Danny. Your talk was absolutely amazing. You got everyone so hyped. Fantastic job. Thank you so much, Danny.
Thank you. And please volunteer with Mintbean, okay?
Yes. Thank you for that plug. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Danny.